Hey guys, welcome to DreamCoin, where we show how to invest for a better tomorrow. My name's Tyler, and today we're going to be going over some updates on Chembio, where the price has seen some more renewed volatility in the last couple days due to an FDA nod. And we are also going to be going over the earnings report that literally just dropped today and how this might affect the company's valuation going into the future. So looking back 2 days ago on August 3rd, late in the afternoon, it came out that they were getting an FDA emergency use nod for its COVID-19 antibody test. And this is going to go inside with the need for more rapid tests to come out with a lot of the new restrictions that some companies are putting in, like France with the vaccine passport, and how the different kinds of governments might be putting into play more types of testing for those that are either not getting the vaccine or are currently unable to get the vaccine, whether it due to medical conditions or anything else like that. As we look at their previous reason for getting a lot of large interest in their stock, they had announced that they got a contract with Brazil to basically give $28 million worth of their COVID test to them in order to be able to do more rapid testing in the country. And this is what brought people onto the stock a lot more after this news came out, because obviously COVID has been making a bit of a comeback in resurgence with the new Delta variant and Delta Plus variants popping up in different areas of the world, and the Delta variant more specifically looking to be more infectious than the original strain that happened last year. And so the need for testing obviously is going to be ramped up, especially with the fact that there's a lot more people that are possibly going to the hospital to get checked out for this stuff, and they need to be able to differentiate on a quicker timeline whether somebody actually has COVID or not. Heading over to their earnings report, which just dropped a little bit ago, they had a total revenue increase from the second quarter of 2021 of $6.5 million, which was about 26% more compared to that same period of time in 2020. They seem to be improving overall for at least the first half of 2021 as compared to the first half of 2020, despite that being the first start of COVID and everything is shutting down. And this is shown more evident in their net product sales for the second quarter of 2021 being almost $4 million, which is an increase of about 4% from last year. Their gross product margin was pulled down a little bit from having write down of inventory, which is basically where they kind of just write it off, whether due to just contracts falling through or just damages to product or anything that could go with the process of writing those off. But they had an improvement even in this aspect of their financials, where they were only negative by $0.1 million, which is roughly about $100,000, compared to almost $2 million from 2020 in the same period. The research and development for the same period of time was up almost 50%, but a lot of this was due to the fact that they were trying to do a little more research and development in relation to pursuing that emergency use authorization that we talked about earlier, and approaching the FDA and other governments around the world potentially for where their products could be used in a larger scale. What's very significant about their test is they're not only going to be able to test for COVID, but they were looking to develop something that would allow for the detection of influenza A and B on top of COVID antigens. And this would all come from one sample where you get a nasal or throat swab that would basically be able to give you results in about 20 minutes, which would be huge for a global scale impact. They're in a good position cash-wise because they have cash and cash equivalents as of June 30th totaling $5.6 million. And what they had also was $36.9 million in gross proceeds through their share offering that they had put into the stock. Couple this with the fact that they have a $28 million deal with Brazil, and they're probably going to be pretty solid long-term as a company on the financial side of things. While looking at the chart for Chembio, I do have two previous lines at roughly $3 and $4 for support and resistance, basically in relation to when they first ran back the end of June and when I covered them. But since the beginning of August, they've been able to return back above this $3 area after consolidating under it for quite some time, and they're still in a good spot to ride this $3 to $4 channel roughly over the long period until they get possibly more contracts announced or they get some more information out on where they can get approval in other countries or other systems to get their products on a more wide scale use. I do see very good long potential in them still of over $25 for me personally, with the fact that their COVID tests could be a lot better in comparison to what we have, where some tests are still possibly taking a day or two depending on who's doing them. When we look at the fact that they are not only able to check for COVID, but also differentiate if a sickness could be influenza or something else at the same time with the same sample in such a small amount of time, this provides for a larger efficiency on keeping tabs on where somebody might be along the process of their sickness. In the short term here, I do see possible consolidation around this 340 area. This earnings report did come after hours. It's not too insane for anything. I mean, it shows that they've managed their cash well despite all that they're dealing in. So that's pretty good from that standpoint, but I don't see this affecting the stock too much. I do see them kind of sitting around this 330 to 340 area, possibly going through the end of after hours today. And depending on how the market reacts going into Friday, we could be seeing a possible bounce down towards that $3 area, or if they can get a back above this 340 area that I've put in since the last video, we could see a start to hold there and possible movement upwards. If they can retest 4 at some point in the next few weeks, I could see them supporting there above $4 and sitting in a channel between $4 and $5 for a period of time. Long term, I think anything in this area under $4 is going to be very nice for a buy-in price. As always, if you want to figure out how to average in, I do have a video on averaging into positions a little easier too, so make sure you check that out on the channel. But generally, you just start a small position, see which way it reacts, and if it moves up, you can just average in small amounts over time. And if it takes a drastic drop down, you could average in a larger portion. That would keep your average kind of scaling in with the stock price over time and keeping you active within that volatility and riding that out as it possibly happens over the next couple of days. I hope you guys enjoyed the update on Chembio, because I know quite a few of you have been checking it out and asking questions since I made my initial video on it a couple weeks ago. So this is just kind of the stuff that I've noticed over time, and it looks like they're in a pretty good spot still as a company. I think COVID plays are going to be some of the top priority stuff for myself to watch over the next couple months, just due to the fact of the resurgence of it, what governments are doing to mitigate people spreading the virus, and what might come about if more variations do end up popping up. That's going to do it for me in this video today, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.